Hello, everyone, and welcome to Amara's Voice. I'm a teacher and an uplifter, which means I see people as already whole. I see them as vibrant, joyful, magnificent, and powerful. I see the source within them, which leads them to a powerful truth from within. I see them living in alignment with self, having such wonderful beliefs that make them stay in their joyful natural element. Today, I'm pondering rest. Now, many times we get carried away by all the things we have to do, and it makes sense that we do. We've learned to schedule our lives so tightly that almost every hour belongs to something. I'm a mom, for example, and there's often a lot to do: school drop-offs and pickups, grocery shopping, car washes, meeting with friends, work, laundry, cooking, cleaning, recording episodes, replying to messages, reading. There always seems to be something waiting for your attention. It's easy to get carried away by all of it. It's easy to forget the simple thing called rest. Most of us think of rest as doing nothing, or worse, as being lazy. So we keep moving. We tell ourselves we'll rest after we've finished everything. But here's the interesting part. The list is almost never finished. There's always another email. There's always another message, another phone call, something else, something urgent, something important. Another errand, another appointment, a goal, responsibility. So if rest depends on everything getting done first, then many of us may never truly rest. Instead, we rush through our meals, we walk quickly, we hurry through conversations, we even rush while doing the things we once looked forward to. We're constantly doing, but doing isn't the opposite of rest. And stopping isn't always the same as resting. Those are two very different things. So what is rest? Most of us have inherited a definition of rest without ever questioning it. We know what we've been taught, we know what we've seen, and so we assume we already understand it, but do we? Even in our moments of rest, many of us aren't actually resting. Our minds are resting. We are thinking about tomorrow's meeting, what happened yesterday, what someone said to us, what we still have to do, where we're going next. We watch television, listen to music, scroll on our phones, answer messages. There's always something happening, always something demanding our attention. There is very little stillness. And when there is stillness around us, there often isn't stillness within us. Our bodies may be sitting on a couch, but our minds are running a marathon. To me, that's not resting. The mind is a remarkable tool. It creates, it solves problems, it imagines, but it also has the ability to keep us moving long after the body has stopped. When I looked up the definition of rest, it said this: a cessation of work or movement in order to relax, refresh oneself, or recover strength. And that's a beautiful definition if we're talking about the body, but what about the mind? Because I think we've all experienced this before. We've gone on vacation and come back feeling just as mentally exhausted. We've had a massage while replaying an argument in our heads. We've taken a day off, yet spent the entire day worrying. Our bodies stopped, our minds didn't. So maybe rest isn't simply the absence of movement. Maybe rest is the absence of resistance. Maybe rest is a state of consciousness before it's ever an activity. Because if my mind is constantly fighting what is, constantly trying to be somewhere else, constantly replaying yesterday or rehearsing tomorrow, then I may be physically resting without ever truly being at rest. Now, to me, true rest comes from clarity. The clearer I become about who I am, the easier it becomes to rest. Why? Because uncertainty creates tension. Clarity creates peace. For me, that clarity is knowing that I am the creator of my own reality. I take full responsibility for my experience. Once I truly saw how my thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and attention shape my experience, things began to change in my life. I still choose the reality I prefer. I still create a clear mental picture of the life I want. I still deliberately offer thoughts that are in harmony with it. I still take inspired action when it feels right. But after that, I rest. Not because I've given up, not because I've become passive, but because I trust what I've set in motion. Think about a gardener. A gardener carefully chooses a seed, plants it in good soil, waters it, and gives it sunlight. But imagine if every morning they dug the seed back up just to check whether it was growing. It would never grow. The gardener's role is not only to plant the seed, it's also to leave it alone, to trust the process, to allow life to do what life naturally does. In many ways, I think we are no different. We create a vision for our lives. We imagine what we prefer, we choose new thoughts, we begin moving in a new direction. And then instead of allowing those new ideas to take root, we keep digging them up with worry, doubt, impatience, and fear. Is it working? Maybe I should change everything. What if it never happens? To me, that isn't creation, that's resistance. Rest is what trust feels like. It's reaching a place where you know with quiet confidence that what you've created is unfolding. Even if you can't yet see all of it, some things may take longer than others. That's simply part of living in time. But if I truly know that I am the creator of my own reality, then eventually there comes a moment when I stop trying to force it. I let go. I stop wrestling with it. And I rest in the complete knowing that what I have created has already begun its journey toward me. Think about it. We resist the present moment. We resist uncertainty. We resist not knowing. We resist waiting. We resist things being different from what we want. And that resistance is exhausting. Perhaps the opposite of rest isn't movement or activity. Perhaps it's resistance. This explains why someone can spend an entire day lying in bed and wake up mentally exhausted. They weren't moving, but they were resisting. Resisting a conversation, a bill, the past, themselves. And that's work. Resistance is work. Acceptance is rest. Not acceptance in the sense of giving up, acceptance in the sense of no longer fighting the fact that this is where you are right now. When you can choose from that place, the deepest rest isn't found when the body stops moving. It's found when the mind stops resisting. Rest is necessary if the goose is to lay the golden eggs. We've all heard the story. The owner became so impatient for more golden eggs that he couldn't wait. Instead of trusting the process, he tried to force the outcome, and in doing so, he lost the very thing he was trying to gain. I think we sometimes live our lives the same way. We are so focused on productivity, so focused on getting there as quickly as possible. We want results now. We want certainty now. We want everything to happen according to our timeline. And in that constant striving, we forget to rest. Not just physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. So what do I do instead? I create a clear mental picture of what I prefer. I deliberately return my attention to that picture whenever I notice myself wandering into fear, doubt, or resistance. Not because I'm pretending unwanted things don't exist, because I know that where my attention rests, my experience begins to follow. Little by little, I stop feeding the thoughts that exhaust me. I stop rehearsing the stories I no longer wish to live. I stop resisting what is while still choosing what I prefer. And something begins to happen. My mind becomes quieter. There is less struggle, less urgency, and resistance. Now I'm truly resting. Not because life has become perfect, because my consciousness has stopped fighting itself. It's consciousness arguing with consciousness. One part of you saying, this shouldn't be happening. Another part of you simply observing what is. When those two stop pulling against each other, that's rest. It's almost as though the deeper truths you've come to know are clashing with the ideas you've collected throughout your life. One part of you knows you're enough, another part still believes you have to earn your worth. One part of you knows life is working with you, another part is convinced you have to control everything. One part of you trusts, the other part doubts. And when those two parts are pulling in opposite directions, of course you're tired. Not because you've done too much, but because you've been pulling against yourself. Rest comes from alignment. Alignment, I know is my favorite word, but it isn't inactivity. It's when your thoughts, your beliefs, your attention, and your understanding of who you are begin moving in the same direction with the thoughts and beliefs you inherently have within. So how do we begin to rest? For me, one of the simplest places to begin is meditation. Not because meditation is the destination, but because it gently leads us there. Many of us have spent years training our minds to keep moving. Even when we are sitting quietly, our thoughts continue racing. We remember yesterday, imagine tomorrow, we solve problems that don't exist. And before we know it, we've left the present moment entirely. So the first practice isn't to stop thinking, it's simply to slow down, to become aware of the movement of the mind without needing to chase every thought that appears. Meditation gives us that opportunity. It allows us to sit with ourselves without needing to fix anything, solve anything, or become anything for a few moments. Just to be. I often think of meditation as gently placing the mind in neutral, simply allowing it to slow down. As the mind becomes quieter, we begin to notice that beneath all the noise, there has always been a quiet place within us, a place that isn't rushing, a place that isn't afraid and doesn't need to prove anything. That quiet place is already at rest. Meditation doesn't create that place. It simply helps us notice that it was there all along. So meditation isn't the thing that creates rest. Meditation is one practice that helps us to return to alignment. Meditation isn't just about slowing the mind. It creates the space for self-awareness. Self-awareness isn't the goal either. It creates the freedom to choose. Visualization isn't the goal either. It's what you choose once you're aware. And rest is both the beginning and the result. Another way we can rest is by resetting. Sometimes true rest isn't about stopping our thoughts altogether. It's about gently changing their direction. If you've listened to my episode on imagination, you'll know how much I value this practice. Reset. There are moments when I intentionally pause and ask myself, what would I prefer? Then I allow myself to imagine it. I create beautiful new scenarios in my mind. I picture conversations I'd love to have, experiences I'd love to enjoy, and the kind of person I'm becoming, the kind of life I'd love to wake up to. Yes, I'm still thinking, but my thoughts are no longer wandering aimlessly. They're moving in a direction I've consciously chosen. To me, that's a form of rest because I'm no longer rehearsing fear. I'm no longer replaying unwanted stories. I'm resting my attention on what brings me joy, peace, possibility, and excitement. In many ways, imagination becomes a gentle reset. Not because it changes the world at that very moment, but because it changes the direction of my conscious thoughts. Another practice that has helped me rest is breathwork. It's almost the most amazing way I know how, and it's so simple, but it can change the way we experience our life. When we breathe slowly and intentionally, the mind often begins to quiet almost immediately. The body softens, the urgency begins to disappear. We create just enough space to remember ourselves again. I do this often, especially when something unexpected suddenly enters into my experience. Life has a way of surprising us. Someone says something hurtful, a phone call changes your plans, an email arrives that we weren't expecting. In those moments, it's easy for the mind to begin racing. We want to react, we want to defend ourselves, we want to fix everything immediately. But I've learned that there is a beautiful space between what happens and how I respond. And sometimes that space is just one slow breath. The situation itself may already exist. I may not be able to change it at that moment because it's out of my control, but I can always choose the consciousness from which I respond. So I breathe, I slow down, I return to myself. That breath reminds me of principles of practice. It reminds me of who I am. It reminds me that I don't have to become the chaos that's happening around me. Only then do I speak, not because I'm trying to say the perfect thing, but because I want my words to come from clarity instead of reaction. To me, that's another form of rest. It's not escaping the moment, it's remaining aligned within it. When we think about rest, we usually think about the body, and that's important. As someone who works out regularly, I know how valuable physical rest is. Muscles don't become stronger only while we are exercising. They become stronger during recovery. Rest isn't optional, it's part of the process. But today I'm talking mostly about another kind of rest, the kind we experience internally. Because out of our inner reality, our outer experiences flow. So this kind has nothing to do with whether you're lying in bed or sitting on a bench. This is a kind of rest you can practice anywhere. You don't need a vacation, an entire afternoon. You don't need complete silence. You can practice it while sitting in traffic, in the middle of a difficult conversation, while listening to Amara's voice. When you feel yourself becoming overwhelmed, when you notice your mind beginning to race. At any moment you can pause, you can breathe, you can become aware, you can return your attention to what you know is true about who you are. You can choose alignment, and in that moment, you rest. The beautiful thing is that the more often you practice this, the more familiar it becomes. You begin to notice much more sooner when your mind has wandered into fear, doubt, or resistance. You become more aware of what you're consciously thinking about. You recognize the stories that no longer serve you, and because you're aware, you can gently choose again. Over time, rest stops being something you wait for at the end of a long week. It becomes a way of moving through life, a quiet habit, a daily practice, a place you know how to return to. And perhaps that's what true rest has been all along. Not the absence of activity, but the presence of alignment. Not escaping life, but simply returning to yourself. I actually began this summer by giving myself permission to rest. Even though I rest often, this time felt different. I intentionally slowed down. I stepped back. I became more aware. Perfection implies the end of creation. And as an evolving being, I cannot be perfect. I too get carried away by the whirlwind of it all. And as I rested, I noticed my mind no longer wandered as easily into places I didn't want it to go. But also I needed to focus better so I can be in alignment, mostly with the beliefs I hold about people, to return to the truth of who people are and how I truly see them. it became much easier to gently return my attention to what I preferred. And I realized that this is one of the greatest gifts of rest. When you're truly at rest internally, you can be surrounded by chaos without becoming chaotic yourself. Things may be happening around you, people may be upset, life may feel uncertain, but you don't have to be carried away by the storm. One of my favorite stories that illustrates this comes from the Bible. Whether you read it as history, metaphor, story, or as your fundamental truth, I think there's something timeless about this story. Jesus is asleep in the middle of a storm. The waves are crashing, water is splashing into the boat, the people around him are frightened. Everything around him is in turmoil, and yet he is resting. I've always loved that image because it reminds me that there's a way of being where the storm is without the storm coming inside. To me, that's what true rest feels like. To me, that's what rest does. It doesn't remove the storm, it allows you to remain yourself in the middle of it. Rest enables you to be in the storm without being carried away by it. It reminds you of your underlying principles. It reminds you of what you've practiced. It reminds you of who you truly are. In many ways, I think rest takes us back to our factory settings, not back to who the world taught us to be, but back to who we were before all the noise. It gently clears away the habits we've picked up, the fears we've rehearsed, the stories we've believed, and the resistance we've been carrying. It returns us to that quiet place within us that has always known peace. Much like physical rest allows the body to recover and rebuild, this kind of inner rest revives us from the inside out. We begin to feel lighter, clearer, balanced, and strangely enough, we begin to feel eager again, eager to create, to love, and to live, not because life has suddenly become perfect, but because we've returned to ourselves. To me, that's the beauty of rest. It's physical, but it's also deeply spiritual. It's not simply about recovering energy, it's about returning to alignment. And every time we return to alignment, we return to ourselves. So remember to breathe. You won't always have the opportunity to walk away and meditate, but wherever you are, you can always take a breath. No one even has to notice. Take a slow, deep breath. Hold it for a few moments, then gently let it go. I often hold my breath for a little while longer because it gives me time to pause, time to reflect, time to remember. In that simple moment, I naturally return to my inner guidance. I return to my wisdom, my power, and I remember where my true security has always come from. Not from anything outside of me, but from within. My resting place is inside. It's instant. Whatever reminds you of your deepest truth, let it become your resting place. Whatever reminds you of your inner guidance, your wisdom, your strength, return to it often. Practice returning there so frequently that it becomes your natural response. People have asked me how I can talk to just about anyone. The answer is simple. Someone else's energy cannot affect me unless I allow it to, unless it finds agreement within me. So I can sit with almost anyone. I can listen, I can understand, and I don't have to be moved away from my truth. I remain anchored in who I am. Instead of becoming the effect of the conversation, I can become a positive effect within it. You leave a conversation lighter than when you met. I think that's one of the greatest gifts we can offer each other. Not that we solve all of the problems in the world, but that we remain so deeply at rest within ourselves that our presence becomes a place of rest for everybody else. Don't allow yourself to be carried away by every event that comes into your life. Events will always come. Storms will always come, but you can learn to stay anchored, and you do that through rest. From this resting place, you remember your worth. You realize it was never something you had to chase. It was never found in constantly proving yourself. It was never hidden in endless doing. Your worth has always been there, has always been here. And from this place comes clarity about who you are, what truly matters, and about the kind of life you want to create. So as you go about your life, doing the things you love, remember to return to this resting place. Listen more than you speak. Seek first to understand. Look for solutions that benefit everyone, not just yourself. See the people around you as reflections, showing you something about yourself, inviting you to become even more aware. Learn from everyone, from every experience. Take responsibility for your creations. Be proactive and then continue your journey. Not from fear, not from urgency, but from the clarity of who you are. Stay in alignment. The resistance will begin to fall away. Your well-being will naturally abound. Think about this. Resistance is mentally arguing with the present moment. Rest is allowing this moment to be enough. Resistance exhausts consciousness. Rest restores it. So when do we actually feel rested? Not after doing nothing, but after we've stopped arguing with life for a while. I'm not dismissing naps or vacations. They are wonderful. I love them. I'm simply suggesting that the deepest form of rest isn't something the body enters first. It's something consciousness enters first. Perhaps rest was never about escaping life. Perhaps rest is the way we return to it. I am Amara. Welcome back to my voice, and I'm pondering again for the absolute joy of pondering. I love you all. Focus on feeling good. Bye.